Today, we're diving into something that makes or breaks a leader: integrity. Is integrity the cornerstone of your leadership? In a world today where cutting corners seems expedient, where bending the truth feels almost necessary, and compromise often masquerades as wisdom, integrity has become a rare commodity. But for the Christian leader, it's not an option. It's essential. So whether you're leading a team of 2 or 2,000, where the decisions are visible to many, or if you're the only one that knows, this message still matters. Let's open the Word together and discover why integrity isn't just a nice leadership quality. It's the foundation of everything else. Everything stands on it. Proverbs 11:3, the integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. What a powerful contrast. Let's explore what this means for us as leaders. This proverb reveals something profound about the human condition. We all face the temptation to compromise our values. Maybe it's the pressure to meet quarterly goals that tempts you to overstate results. Maybe it's the desire to be liked that makes you avoid those difficult conversations. Maybe it's the fear of failure that pushes you towards taking some questionable shortcuts. Or maybe it's simply convenience that leads to small compromises that continue to grow over time. The reality is, integrity isn't our natural default setting. It's a choice, and often it's a difficult one. This proverb uses the term duplicity to describe what happens when integrity is absent. This word carries the sense of double-mindedness, of saying one thing but then doing another, of presenting one face publicly while living different privately. And if we're honest, we all know what that internal division feels like. We've all experienced the tension between what we say and what we do, what we expect of others and what we excuse in ourselves, what we know is right and what seems expedient. That tension is universal. What's not universal is how we respond to it. The proverb tells us that the upright, those who choose integrity, are guided by it. Integrity becomes the internal compass, directing their decisions, clarifying their choices, and simplifying complex situations. When you commit to integrity, you actually make leadership simpler. Not easier. It's not easier, but it does become simpler because many options are just immediately eliminated. You don't have to weigh every possible path. You only have to ask, is this right? Is this true? Is this consistent with whom I claim to be? But the unfaithful, those who choose duplicity, are ultimately destroyed by it. Strong words, but true ones. We've all seen it. Leaders who lost influence because they couldn't be trusted. Organizations that collapsed when hidden practices came to light. Relationships that fractured when inconsistencies were discovered. The path of duplicity might seem advantageous in a single moment, but it leads to destruction in the end. And that destruction rarely affects just the individual. It impacts teams. It damages organizations. It hurts those who trusted the leader's word. So what does this say about us? It says that we have a choice every day in every decision to build on the foundation of integrity or to slowly erode it through our own compromise. Now let's shift our perspective. What does this proverb reveal about God's character and values? First, it shows us that God upholds the righteous and their integrity. He doesn't just suggest integrity as a good leadership quality. He establishes as the path to be guided and protected. God isn't neutral about how we lead. He's invested in it. He's concerned with it. He's actively involved in the outcomes. Second, it reveals that God operates in complete integrity himself. Think about it. God never says one thing and then does another. He never makes promises he doesn't keep. He never pretends to be what he's not. He is utterly, completely trustworthy. As Moses declared Deuteronomy 32, verse 4, he is the rock. His works are perfect, and all his ways are just. A faithful God who does no wrong, upright and just as he. That's why he calls us to integrity, because it reflects his character. When we lead with integrity, we're not just implementing a best practice. We're mirroring the very nature of God. And finally, this proverb shows us that God sees what other people don't. While many people just might observe our public actions, God sees our private decisions. He knows when we're living with integrity and when we're operating in duplicity. Nothing is hidden from him. And that knowledge is both comfort and a little scary to us as leaders. It's a challenge. So how do we apply this principle of integrity to our leadership? Let me share you four practical ways. 4 ways we can strengthen the foundation of integrity in leadership. Number 1, align your public and private leadership. Integrity isn't just about avoiding major ethical breaches, about failure. It's about consistency between who you are when everyone is watching and who you are when no one is. Ask yourself, would I make the same decision if everyone could see it? Do I hold myself to the same standards that I expect from my team? Am I the same leader in private conversations that I am in public ones? These questions, they help identify where duplicity might be creeping in, and addressing those gaps is essential for integrity-based leadership. Establish clear, values-based boundaries. Integrity does not happen by accident. It happens by intention. And that requires establishing clear boundaries before you're tested. These aren't just ethical lines you won't cross. They're values-based guardrails that are designed to keep you on track. For example, I won't speak about team members differently depending on who's in the room. I will admit mistakes rather than shifting blame. I will not make promises I'm not certain I can keep. I will give credit generously and take responsibility consistently. When these boundaries are established in advance, they're much easier to maintain under pressure. It becomes part of you, part of how you operate. And that's when we've internalized God's word. And we need to create accountability for this integrity. None of us can maintain integrity alone. We need others who will speak truth to us, who challenge us in our blind spots, and who will hold us accountable. Now, you could get this from a mentor who has permission from you to ask those hard questions, a peer who sees you in action and provides feedback. You might also have a trusted team member who can flag concerns. And of course, a spouse who God's given you, who knows when you're not being true to yourself. Whoever it is, give them explicit permission to hold you accountable for integrity. Because integrity that's never tested isn't integrity at all. It's just intention. Good intentions rarely get us anywhere. Lastly, you need to respond with these integrity failures with transparency. Even with the best intentions, we all fail at times. I have, you have, we all know that we have moments when our actions don't align with who we see as ourselves, with our values. When that happens, we have to be transparent. Can't give excuses, no justifications. We're not minimizing, but we honestly acknowledge, and then we make genuine change. This might mean admitting to your team that you made a mistake, apologizing to someone you misled, intentional or unintentional, correcting information you know isn't accurate, changing course when you recognize you're compromising. When you respond to integrity failures with transparency, you actually strengthen trust rather than diminishing it. People don't expect perfect leaders, but they do expect honest ones. So let's review what we've learned. Proverbs 11:3 teaches us that integrity guides the upright, while duplicity ultimately destroys it. We all face temptations to compromise our values, but integrity provides clear direction when we choose it. God upholds those who lead with integrity, because it reflects his own character, his trustworthy character. We've explored 4 different ways to strengthen integrity: aligning your public and private leadership, being the same in front of people as when you're not; establishing clear value-based boundaries that help guide us, give us those guardrails; creating accountability for that integrity, giving people permission to call us on it when we make a mistake; and then responding to those failures with transparency. Again, strictly acting like we would want someone else to act towards us. So here's your challenge for this. Take time to identify one area of your leadership where integrity might be at risk. Could be a decision you're facing, a conversation that you've been avoiding, or one of those boundary lines that maybe you're starting to cross. Then take one specific action to strengthen your integrity in that area, to act like you intend to act. Have that difficult conversation. Make that right but tough decision. Reestablish some boundaries. Share the concern with your accountability partner, or find one if you don't have one. Because when you choose integrity today, you're building a foundation that supports your tomorrow. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of Lead in 10. If this message on integrity resonated with you, share it with another leader who might very well need this same encouragement. They might need that accountability partner. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on these weekday devotionals. Until tomorrow, remember that your leadership may be what others see, but your integrity is who you truly are, and how you handle that integrity, your intention, is who you will become.